Okay, is it live now? Hello, and sorry about the last disturbance that happened. So I am Atul, and I'm here to discuss few things about your fear of mathematics. I mean, whether you have been a student of maths at any stage of your life, or you want to pursue mathematics in your further classes or your further studies, you want to make a career with maths, you want to teach maths, whatever you want to do. If it is related to maths, you must watch the entire session. It will be very crucial for you. So as I was mentioning that in my post, that maths is the easiest subject of all. Okay, I mean, there's no other subject which can be as easy as mathematics. I think you might be laughing on me when I say this. Always are Harsh, Shilpi ma'am once again, thank you. Bhumi has also joined. That's really cool. So I have many people joined right now. 11 people. So hello to the 11 people joined me right now. Okay, I believe our video would be active now. Okay, so welcome back once again. Really apologize for the technical errors and the faults that we are having right now, and we are hoping that it would be sorted very soon. The gods of mobile networks help us out in that way. Okay, so as I was saying, that whatever you have thought about mathematics so far, just keep aside for a moment. Just remove it from your mind, just keep it aside, and try and understand what actually happened since your childhood. Many subjects you would have studied: EVS, English, Hindi, science, SST, lot of subjects. But do you remember what you studied in class 5th SST book? I guess not. I mean, some of you might be, if you are very young, you might remember it. If you have a very eidetic memory, you might remember it. Yes, Shilpi ma'am, God of network, Jio, Airtel, I have a lot of network connections, and none of the gods actually try and help me out. They are pretty much hell-bent on embarrassing me everywhere. So, but thank you, I can see your comments. Moving on. I think the video will keep stopping, pausing, and move on like that. So I better finish off what I have to say. So why do I say that you remember only nothing of SST or science or English up to that extent, or not even remember the stories that you were taught in your class 4th, 5th books or 6th books? I'm very sure about that. There is a small reason for that. It's because they were not very relevant to you as you progressed. They were not very relevant because, like suppose you studied something about English literature, about a story. That story was not there again in the next class or in the next class or in the next class, and hence you started forgetting it, and at this point of time you don't even remember it. Yes, and it's a fact. You can't deny it, I can't deny it, because I have been through the same process what you have been through, or you will go through the same process that I have been through and we all have been through. But you remember things about your mathematics, like you remember how you have to take out LCM. You remember what about the things about fraction or percentage. You remember the basics of everything. You know why? Because you actually never left maths in your previous class. Whatever you studied in class 1 laid the foundation for what you have to study in class 2. The class 2 thing laid the foundation for class 3, and the 3 laid the foundation for class 4th. And progressively we move forward. And there came the problem. Any of the classes which we have not studied well, where we thought that fine, it's okay, why to study this and that, and the other subjects we made through, maybe because of some illness, or maybe because we didn't want to study, maybe because we were in wrong kinds of friendship and everything, we actually derail from our path. Every other subject got covered because every other subject had something new, something different or theoretical. You could easily understand it and move on. But when it came to mathematics, you always struggled, you always lacked. Because you missed that class 4th fundamentals which actually troubled you in class 5th, and if you did not cover for class 4th fundamental, it went on till class 10th if you are studying it right now in class 10th. And that's how it all starts with mathematics. If you agree, please, I want a comment. Okay, nice. I've suffered maths fear all my life. So congratulations on topic. Oh, thank you so much, Shilpi ma'am. As live as in classroom, thank you, sir. Literature molds behavior, maybe not characters, but we do remember morals, so don't agree much with the comment. Definitely, you don't have to agree with the comment. Everybody has right to opinion. But the comment was scientifically true, because the problem is that the morals stick to you. It might help you out in a longer run if you face the same kind of situation. But in mathematics, no matter whether you want to face it or not, you have to keep that in mind. Because it is not about situation, it is about facts, it's about data, you have to do it. That's how our Indian system works. But moreover, imagine that if I tell you that still it is possible to gain back whatever was already lost, or you feel like that it is gone now you cannot come over it, or you can actually attain it. You might be surprised. Like in case of Shilpi ma'am, I think she's very much in distress about mathematics. She has feared maths all her life. But there is nothing to fear about mathematics. You know why? Because mathematics will ask you to do only one simple thing. Remember one concept and solve about infinite problems related to it. Infinite problems. Now imagine any other subject giving you that much of power. Even if you say that science has some things like that, it is the mathematical concepts that are actually used in science which give you that part, not the concepts. The mathematical formulas that you have to study to apply, suppose you want to find electricity, charge, or anything you want to do, you have to go with mathematics. So even if you have dropped the mathematics in class 10th and now you are studying in class 11, the mathematics is not dropping you at all. It is going on with you. Even for people who have taken biology, in your experiments of chemistry, or in your experiments, you have to measure, you have to calculate, you have to multiply, you have to divide, you have to find out the exact number of solutions, or the mass, or the volume, and that is mathematics. So you actually never left mathematics behind. It is always there with you. The only problem that you faced was you let it get over in your head. That you allowed mathematics to rule your head. I'll give you my example. I teach maths. People definitely believe that I teach math, that means I would be brilliant in mathematics, I would be god of mathematics, or a lot of comments I get on from students. That, oh, you are able to solve this question, of course you can solve, you are a teacher. It's not like that. I have also been a student. Till class 6th, 7th, I had very good, strong mathematics. If some of my friends would have joined, they would be knowing about it. I had very good mathematics. I scored very good in mathematics. 8th, I got a chapter, algebraic expressions and linear equation in one variable. I was not able to understand them at all. And what happened was I scored terrible in my exams. Almost failed. I was even below 50% mark. The teachers couldn't believe it. My mother couldn't believe it. Nobody could. How this could happen to Atul Singh, who was the topper of his class in mathematics, suddenly failed. Almost failed. Now again comes the second reason why we are afraid of mathematics. We are not afraid of the entire mathematics as a whole. What we are afraid of are few concepts, or in some cases few chapters, 1 or 2 chapters. That's it. That's the whole story. Suppose I'm afraid of algebra. Now that algebra makes me lose interest in the entire mathematics as a whole, the entire book. Because whenever I open that book, I just remember, oh my God, I don't know algebra. Oh my God, algebra is killing me. Oh my God, I can't solve algebra. What will I do? And that's the problem. For once in a while, just try and remove that. Like, have you seen Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter, they have a wand. They just do this and they remove the memory and they put it in some jar and it's gone forever. Just think that this is a wand. I'm Dumbledore. Just did this, took out the algebra fear, dropped it in some well, went away. Clear? Now, if I remove algebra from my mathematical book, I mean, if you have done class 8, I'm very sure you would be aware that there are many other chapters, many other chapters, cube root, squares, area, perimeters, triangles, quadrilaterals, a lot of other chapters. In fact, comparing quantities, I mean the CP, SP, percentage, discount. I could have scored wonderful in that. How many marks would I have gained from algebra? Maybe 10, 15. Still I would be at 85 marks out of 100. But no. I let those 15 marks ruin my entire mindset about how I should have approached maths. And that's where the second flaw came. I shouldn't have done that. I should have tried to overcome my problems related to algebra. I should have worked on it. 1 week of only algebra and everything would have been solved. But no, I found an easy way. I thought that no, leave mathematics, let's study something else. Maybe SST, maybe science, or maybe something else. Leave mathematics for a while. It is already, people say, difficult. And one time it actually became little trouble for me. I just left it. When I entered class 9, my class 8 base was so weak that I was not able to solve most of the NCERT questions. I was blank. But I adjusted. I thought, oh, Nana, mathematics is difficult. How can I mean, it's okay. In 8th also, I was almost there. Arithmetic is cool. Algebra is monster. That's what I'm saying, ma'am. That's what I'm saying. That's just part of something that actually gives you trouble, not the entire maths. So you don't hate the entire subject for just a small part of it. Just try and overcome that small part and you will be able to achieve control of the entire chapter or entire anything. Just one small fringe cannot let you discard everything that you have worked for. What about the other 8 chapters? If you have 10 chapters in your book, what about the other 8? If you are just having to risk everything on just 2 chapters, is it wise to do? No. But it actually instills a lot of fear. Those 2 chapters instill so much fear inside you that you just start losing interest in the entire book and you leave it. Same thing happened to me when I was in 9th. And it went on and on. I was not able to achieve anything. Everybody thought that I am not even going to do well in my board exams, which were next year, of course, in class 10th. Till August, September, in fact November of class 10th, I was not good in maths at all. My teacher called me, said, Atul, what's the problem? I mean, you understand concepts, you reply in class, but you're not able to gain marks. I was surprised. I was like, what? I mean, I understand my problem, sir. I am not able to find a solution for it. So he said that, try it. Sit with it. Forcefully sit with it. As a medicine. Take it as a medicine. That you have to. You are sick. You are not feeling well. You just have to take 2 questions a day. Just start taking it. And you will feel the change. That teacher is still there. I mean, he's very aged, maybe 80 plus right now. But I have huge respect for that teacher. You will not believe I started doing it, and when I started, I just realized how easy it was. And why on earth would I ever leave it? And believe me or not, but I scored, there was CGPA, but I know how much I scored. It was 98 out of 100, because only 2 things were wrong in that paper. I still remember that paper. Just 3 months of preparation and I changed it around. From that time onwards, I could only study mathematics. I loved maths because I found out so easy. You don't have to study anything before going to exam. I mean, what will you study? For example, just take SST. There are 5 books. You have to memorize everything of it. I mean, what happened, how happened. I just watched Kamala ma'am's Federalism the other day. So many things to memorize. I mean, you have to learn that how the federal structure works, how things happen in a government, what kind of bodies are there, I mean, how the power is divided, and so many things. Similarly, history, so many dates, so many events that have happened. You have to go through everything, every one of them, everything. You have to memorize it, remember it here. But in mathematics, suppose if there are 3 chapters coming, there is only one book, 14 chapters, just know what to do in them and you just go and sit for 3 hours and give your exam. You will definitely do quite better. Just have the confidence that you know things. You have understood them. That's it. So you don't need any kind of preparation. You don't need any kind of mugging. You don't need any kind of previous knowledge to carry forward that, okay, so I have this from this part to this part, I have memorized this. Now I'll move on to the next part, then I'll memorize this. No, not at all. Even in science, you have to memorize a lot of reactions. Like in chemistry, you have to memorize a lot of reactions and you have to adjust with it. What can you do? But in maths, just small formulas, easily make it happen. Now, obviously, if I say this, you will feel like, okay, just he's saying it is not possible. Okay, so in mathematics, everything starts looking alike. That's the best part. You don't have to worry about different things coming and haunting you. It's only one thing. So if you just tackle that one thing, if you just get over that one problem, the entire book comes into your knees and just starts saying, come on, man, you are the boss. And you are. So I believe, Shilpi ma'am, if you figured that out, I would strongly suggest that you should have moved forward with it. But let me tell you one very small example. I mean, I'm here to teach mathematics, right? But I wanted to start with fear so that you have an idea of what I'm going to talk about. Suppose I'm taking a small chapter of quadratic equations. I don't know if you have heard about this or not, but there is a concept called as quadratic equations in class 7th, 8th, and finally in 10th and 11th also you have quadratic equations, just slightly different. Okay, so we have that topic. Thank you, Sunita ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. So let me give you a small example. Before I come to quadratic equation, I just have to introduce the word what is quadratic. Now, just forget anything that you know about mathematics or the fear, everything. Just remove it aside. Just listen to what I'm saying and just try and understand whether you are able to get this or not. Any polynomial. Now, what is a polynomial? Any polynomial which has algebraic elements with it. That means which has got unknowns as well as constants like x and 2 together. So if I have written 2x, it is a polynomial. If I have written 5y, it is a polynomial. If I have written 5y plus 2x, this is also a polynomial. Okay? So anything which has got algebraic terms, that means the variables a, b, c, d, and along with them some constants attached to it with some algebraic expressions like and operations like plus, minus, multiply, divide, it's polynomial. Now polynomial is divided into different categories. So there are types of polynomials. Okay, so I'll just give you a small hint of it. If any polynomial, suppose 3x plus y is a polynomial here. If the degree of the polynomial is 1 means x, the highest power of the variables involved in this entire equation, is 1. Highest power means whatever is on its head, that is its power. If nothing is there, we consider it 1. Okay, so if something is there, suppose if there is 5, so I will call that the degree of this polynomial is 5. If there is 2, I'll call that the degree of this polynomial is 2. If there is, suppose there are 5 terms, 3x cubed plus 4x square minus 6x, just consider them as something written. Okay, don't worry about what is x and how it is going forward, just consider this something is written. So if here I have got 3, I have got 2, I have got 1, which is the highest in this? 3, right? If I have 3 as the highest, I will call the degree of this polynomial as 3. Now let's come to the types. If the degree of the polynomial is 1, that means the highest term is 1, the highest power is 1, I'll call it linear polynomial. If I have got degree as 2, suppose this was the question, 4x square minus 6x, what is the highest power here? 2, so degree becomes 2. That means now I have got degree as 2, and that's why it is called quadratic. So when degree is equals to 1, it is linear. When degree is equals to 2, it is quadratic. When degree is equals to 3, it is cubic. And when degree is equals to 4, it is called biquadratic. Now, in some other scenarios, if it would be some other subject, I would be asking you to memorize all of these. But in maths, you don't need to memorize all of these. You don't need the names. You just need to understand what kind of situation we are in. That's it. Hardly there will be any problems where people will be asking about the types of polynomials. Hardly there will be. Because when we have problems which are arising from these situations, they are basically based on the application of them. Because maths is all about applications. Okay, not the theory part. It's how we apply things that we learn in the practical problems that we face. Okay, so one thing is clear, that what is quadratic. Shilpi ma'am, you're with me, I believe. I would definitely request, I mean, if I can explain this concept to Shilpi ma'am, I think I have won the world war. So Shilpi ma'am, I hope that you carry on with me. Okay, fine. So we have linear, quadratic, cubic, biquadratic. Now what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss about quadratic, because the name itself says we are talking about quadratic. So that means I'm just going to talk about the equations, or I'm just going to talk about the polynomials having degree 2. That's it, only degree 2, nothing else. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm just going to move forward slightly to the next word of the topic. And the next word is quadratic equation. Now what is an equation? Of course there will be some confusion about it, right? Let me tell you. There is a part of it which says EQUA. Now, do you know from where it is inferred? I think you know, it's about equal, right? And this is a suffix which we keep on using, I mean, in all kinds of word formation when you study in English, all kind of preparation, equation, presentation, this TION is always there. It's a suffix. So it is related to equal. What I'm going to do is, if any polynomial equation, say 3x square plus 2x plus 5, this is a quadratic equation. Why? Because the degree is 2. And we have an equal to sign attached to it. In this, we have an equal to sign also. This becomes an equation. So any polynomial having an equals to sign becomes an equation. If it was not here, it would just be called as a polynomial. If I have an equal to, it will become an equation. Okay? So it's very simple and very common, I mean, that you can simply understand that if it is not having any equal to sign among it, it will be called as a polynomial. If it has an equal to sign, it doesn't matter whether we have 0 or not, it can also be written like this. No issues. Then it will be called as an equation. Now, one more small thing. So I believe so far it's clear to everybody, and I would appreciate your comments, those who are studying. I think Tushar is here, Harsh is here, Bhumi is here, if I'm not mistaken. I think Drishti is also here, Yash is here. So I would definitely love your comments if you are able to get this. Okay, so keep commenting so that I have an idea whether you are understanding this or not. So now we have quadratic equations. I'm just going to tell you one more small thing that you can always remember. Any quadratic equation will have two solutions. Now what are solutions? Suppose I say x plus 5 is equals to 0. Now I want to find the solution of this equation. The solution of any equation means the value of x. Okay, so the value of x. How can I find the value of x? I can simply transfer 5 this side and this becomes minus 5. This is called as solution of x or value of x. Alright. So now I have got value of x as x is equals to minus 5. I got only one answer. Why? Because this equation was actually linear. So one more thing we actually came to know was that if I have any linear equation with me, I will always get one answer or one value of x. If I have got a quadratic equation, that means suppose x square minus 25, that means I will have how many solutions? 2 solutions. Why? Because the degree here is 2. If I have got a equation of, suppose I've got an equation of degree 3, how many solutions will I have? Anyone would like to take a chance? Come on. How many solutions will I have? Quickly tell me. For a cubic equation, how many solutions will I have? I'm expecting an answer. If you can. Okay. How many? No, thumbs up is not going to do. Yeah, Anmol, you have just joined. Can you please tell me that how many solutions we will have if we have a cubic equation with us? No, thumbs up is not going to cut it, man. You have to answer. People, you got to answer. Okay, fine. I'll tell it. It's okay. I think there might be some network lag which we are not getting, so I'll give you the answer. The answer is actually 3, because cubic polynomial or cubic equation has got degree as 3, therefore there will be 3 answers. Now coming back to the quadratic. If I have got 2 answers of any given equation, so I have answer 1 and answer 2, suppose x1 and x2. Now there can be different relations between them. One relation would be when I will say that x1 and x2 are different from each other. Like say if this is 2, this is 5, this is minus 1, this is plus 1, this is 3, this is 7, they're different. The other one we can clearly understand is when they both will be equal to each other. Suppose if this is 2, this will also be 2. If this is 5, this will also be 5. If this is 100, this will also be 100. So here we have a second equation, a second form or second type where we have different answers. Both of them are different, both of them are same, and the third case where both of them do not exist. That means the solution is not possible. Yes, that can also be a case where solution is not possible. Now how we will get that case I will discuss in some other time, but right now we have to understand that there are only 3 cases which are attached to it. Till class 10th you are not taught more than that, but when you move to class 11th you will be taught about the third case also. So you have to wait till class 11 to understand the third case of quadratic polynomials or quadratic equations. Till then just carry on with the 2 cases. So the first case was when I said that the answer or the solutions will be different, but they will exist. So we call them real and unique. Unique means different. They're not same, they're not identical, they're different. So real and unique roots. Now this root is actually a word, or you can say synonym for solutions in case of mathematics and in case of all algebraic solutions. So this is a real and unique roots. If I have got both the roots as same, so I can write it as real and equal roots. And the third case, imaginary roots, or I can say that roots does not exist, or I am just writing here as non-real roots. For now you don't have to get inside this, because you will be getting this in a negative sign equals to third case. Yes, Tushar, thank you for that. So non-real roots. Okay, now if I say that I will just look at any given equation, quadratic equation, I can tell which kind of root does it have. Yes, no, it's not magic, it's mathematics, but you will see. Suppose I have an equation here. Now somebody asked me that what kind of root will it have. Can you tell me what kind of root does it have? I mean whether yeah, this is definitely sure that it will have 2 answers. Confirm. Why? Because degree is 2. If the degree would be 3, there would be confirmed 3 answers. Now all 3 could be same, 2 can be same, 1 can be different, all 3 can be different, they cannot exist. I mean anything can happen, of course, but for now we have just got 2 roots. We are very sure of that we will be getting 2 roots. What we are not sure of is what kind of nature the roots will have. Whether they'll be equal, they'll be different, or they'll be non-existing or non-real. So what we can do is, I'm just giving you a small formula. Now comes the formula of mathematics. I mean, it's a very, very crucial part of maths. So let's see. And those who have fear of maths, please look. D is equals to b square minus 4ac. Now this is D. D is a short form for discriminant, or I can say that it is just representing discriminant. Now what is a discriminant? Discriminant is the value of this term. If I calculate b of square of b minus 4 into a into c, this is actually called as the discriminant of any given quadratic equation. So now I have got discriminant here. By using this formula, I can find the value of discriminant. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to put the values from here and put it here. Now here I have got 3, 5 and 2, and here I have b, a and c. How would I know that what is b, what is a and what is c? So let's understand one more thing, very small thing. That whenever you have any equation, say ax square plus bx plus c, always there is a standard form for writing all the equations. Always the highest degree is written first, then comes the lower one, then comes the lower one, then comes the lower one, likewise it goes on. Suppose if I start with the equation of degree 5, so first I will write the degree 5 term, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, then the constant term, and then equals to 0. This is how any equation is written in algebraic identity case or any equations case. Okay, so we have ax square plus bx plus c. Now compare x square, that means a is acting as 3, correct? X and x, that means b is acting as 5. Constant and 2, that means c is acting as 2. Clear? Now let's just write it here so that it is not, there's no mistake in it while I copy it. Just simple. B is how much? 5. And just compare. C is how much? 2. Now, what I wanted to know was, I wanted to find the value of D, this thing, correct? I have got A, B and C. Now, is it so difficult that I just take these values and just put it in their places? Simple. Substitute them. Okay? Just replace them with whatever they are. That means I have D is equals to, what is B square? B is how much? 5. So let's say 5 square minus 4. 4 is already here. What is A? A is 3. And what is C? C is 2. Now 5 square is how much? 25. 4 3s are 12, 2s are 24. Can I write this as 24 directly? Correct? What I applied here? BODMAS rule that you studied in class 5th, I suppose. First we did the square because it was kind of a bracket. Then we did the multiplication. And then we are finally going to subtract this. So this D actually came out as 1. Now the value of D is 1. Okay? Let's get back to our business. What we actually have here is, we have to describe the nature of the equation. And by using D, we can easily describe the nature of the equation. How? If D is greater than 0, please mark the words. If D is greater than 0, what is greater than means? Bada ho. It has to be greater than. It should have more value than 0. It should be on the right side of the number line. Whatever, however you understand. So D is equals to 1 here. That means 1 is greater than 0. So we have the first case. This is our first case. That is real and unique roots. It will have two answers and they both will be different from each other. Suppose if one is 5, other is 6. If one is 3, other is 2. If one is 4, other is 5. Anything. But they won't be same. They can be minus, they can be fraction, they can be root, anything, but they won't be same. That's for sure. Real and equal roots. This case arises when we have D is equals to 0. When the discriminant, the value of discriminant actually came out to be 0, then I would say that D, this is the second case of our concept, that is real and equal roots. And if D is less than 0, now less than 0 you understand? Of course, less than 0 anything is negative. Minus, less than 0 that means negative. So that will be our third case, or I can say that these are non-real roots. Alright? So I got 3 different scenarios in which I was able to use this concept of quadratic and basic formula of BODMAS, simple calculation, squaring, multiplication, subtraction, and then I got the answer. And then I simply compared it and I got my result or the explanation of what I was going to achieve. So now I just explained a small question to you over here, and I was just trying to show that even if you have not studied even once this topic, or even if you have studied 10 years back, but if you just look at the simplicity of the concepts in mathematics, you will always understand that this is the easiest thing to do. You just have to remember this. Just have to remember this. There are how many letters? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 letters. And you will actually be able to solve a 3 marks question that will be there in your board exams. I mean, if that's how we compare getting knowledge in our Indian system, so definitely we have to go with that. You can easily do that. Similarly, when I take classes for 12th and 11th, there are very, very plain and simple concepts. There is one concept by which you can derive all other formulas. Just one concept of, suppose if you would like to know, it is first principle. Okay, the concept is called as first principle, and by using first principle you can derive all the formulas that are available in your course. One concept only. But it is, of course, the fear that makes you little bit scrumptious about what mathematics can give you. But again, it depends on how you perceive it. It depends on how you analyze it. It depends on how you take it. Suppose I'm just going to give you a small question. I mean, this, if you understood, I hope that you will be able to answer this question. If you are able to answer this question, that means you are actually getting the concept right. So let me give you another question. Say x square plus 3x plus 5 equals to 0. Now please, can you tell me what kind of nature this root has? This quadratic equation has. I mean, what nature of roots will it carry? I'm just waiting for this answer. If you give me this answer, I'll be very, very, very happy with it. And if you're not able to give me this answer, I would definitely like to know the reasons. So I expect an answer from you people. Just give me the answer to this problem. Okay, just give me an answer to this problem. Yes, I'm waiting for the answer. What is the value of x, Tushar? I mean, what was the value of d? Tell me the value of d. Shilpi ma'am, if you are here, I would love to have an answer from you. Anmol, I want the value of d, dear. I want the value of d. Just tell me the value of d. Not sure, hesitating. No problems, Asta ma'am. No problems, no need to worry. You are impeccable in your field, ma'am, trust me. You need not answer this at all. You're already doing wonders in your field. I'm still awaiting a response. D, the value of d. Okay, fine. Real and equal roots. Ridhima ma'am, thank you so much for the answer. Two answers. Shilpi ma'am, that's awesome. There will be two answers, but I just wanted to know what kind of nature will they have. Whether they'll be equal, they'll be different, or they will not exist, they'll not be real. Just have to find the value of D and just compare. Okay, fine. So I believe that we calculated this by using b square minus 4ac. Let's see. A is acting as 1 here because x has nothing over here. That means it will be considered as 1. What is b here? That is our 3. And what is c here? That is 5. So now 1, 3 and 5. We got 3 things. Let's apply. So b square minus 4ac. What is b? 3. So let's take 3 square minus 4 into a. What is a? 1. And what is c? 5. Now 3 square is 9 and 4 5 is what? 20. 9 minus 20 will be how much? Minus 11. So since it is minus 11, that is negative, we fall into the third category. That means we have non-real roots. So Ridhima ma'am, it was the third case actually. This d equals to 0 would be the second case and d is less than 0 would be the third case. But no problems, well tried everybody. Finally you got the answer. And that is it. I mean, that's all about maths. I mean, if you just try and relate this with yourself, it will be actually easier. Yes ma'am, minus 11 is absolutely correct answer. Yes Drishti, thank you, it's minus 11. That's wonderful. Alright, so let me assure you that this was really wonderful time I had with you people. You are very, very supportive audience, and you definitely boost the morale for anybody. I mean, I am very sure that I might have given you one concept to remember. If not for you, then obviously someday your children or somebody would come and ask this concept, and you might remember my name, that yes, I studied there. If that happens, I'll be really, really happy, and that would be awesome. So it was pleasure. Just would like to end it by saying one thing, that always remember, it's not about proving the superiority of a subject. It's just that there are myths about few things which should be kept in mind. So never tell your children, even if you had faced problems in mathematics, that I was not able to do well in mathematics, never tell your children that. Because I don't know how, but you actually instill that fear in their own minds. Like saying in front of a child that अब तुम्हारी मम्मी ही अच्छी नहीं है मैथ्स में, तो बच्चा कैसे अच्छा होगा. You know, these kind of statements actually create a negative impact in a child's mind, that the child already thinks that no, she can never do mathematics. She can never be good in mathematics because her mother is not good. So even if you're not good, try and keep a positive atmosphere about related to mathematics with your children. It's not necessary that they have to study maths and maths only. It is not necessary at all. But at least they don't have to fear it. Half of your problems are only solved by removing that fear which is inside them. The other half, teachers will definitely worry about, or even you can worry about, or anybody who's the guide of the teacher will worry about. At least let that half of your problem or half of your solution with the child. But don't let them realize it's difficult, it's easy. It's always been easy. And it is kind of easy. You know, I taught a girl, I don't know whether it's watching or not, it's her birthday today. I taught a girl in my previous school, and she was very weak in maths. I could not understand that how to bring about the change, or mean how to take the interest. But you will not believe the way that girl transformed herself in just 3-4 months of time, because I just didn't change anything. I did not teach anything special. The way I teach here, I teach everywhere. What happened was that she just started liking the subject. She felt like it's easy. And once you give that small thing in the mind, some small positive hope in the mind that yes, you can do it, the child went on to take mathematics in her, she scored so much percentage that she could take PCM in her 11th, 12th, and she is doing quite well in her subject. I'm always proud of that girl because the way she changed. So it is not something which cannot be done, and it is not a big deal. It's again just like any other subject. It's again like any other concept that we study around or any of the problems that we face. It's just about thinking in a right way and making it happen. And always remember that a child who does well in maths or who is able to understand maths is a fighter, because the people who tend to leave difficulties when they start having problems, they are not very strong from inside. I always believe that why we call everything in maths a problem is because it kinds of make it difficult for you. You have to face it. So let's face it. Fight harder. It doesn't get in one time. Fight harder. Try again, try again, try again. Till the time you don't get it, just keep trying. Keep banging your head on it. You will definitely get something out of it. And I'm very sure that it will change the way you see things in your life. And you might start, just forget about the subject, you might start enjoying even the problems that come in your life and the situations that are adverse in your lifestyle. So I always give all the credit to mathematics to keep you cool and calm and composed and ready for any kind of battle that comes your way. So good luck to everybody. Stay home, stay safe. This is not the time where you should try taking on problems outside your house. Just try taking on the problems inside of your house and make sure that we just come out of this problem as early as possible. Thank you and have a nice day, and keep liking the page, like the page and subscribe it so that you can keep getting more videos which are coming your way in the next coming 3-4 days. It will be a continuous flow of videos of different from age groups. The teachers will be there for pre-primary till class 12th. And I am very sure that you are going to enjoy it. You are going to understand a lot more that is going to come your way. Thank you and take care, everyone. See you.